Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday today. So excited to be back. Had a great weekend and trip. And I can see my screen's already different apps, I guess. Maybe switch off some of these apps so this doesn't happen. Yeah, again, I'm frozen. I don't know why this happens all the time, guys. Sorry about this. Anyway, lots of tabs open. I guess that's what does it. It's the memory hog. Anyway, had a really good trip in Argentina. Just got back. Yeah, lots of insights from Argentina. It was my first time there. I don't know if any of you have been there or not. Let me know in the chat. Or of Argentina, just thumbs up, thumbs down. Super easy. Yeah, and really good time in Argentina. And as you know, we launched the Argentinian Inflation Index. And so, um, I was really fortunate to be speaking at the Tech Forum in front of, I don't know, maybe 1,000 plus people. And I was the opening note before MLE came on stage. So I was pretty excited about that. And we were just going through what is Truflation, how does Truflation calculate the inflation index. And you can watch this here on the site. One of our key influencers, Manuel, K-Manu S88, go check out his YouTube channel, about 1 million followers. He's really a big influencer across Latin America from an economic standpoint as well. So he actually invited us to go and speak. And is a big supporter of Truflation. He also references Truflation on his website and his YouTube channel a lot. So that's pretty exciting. Not only that, we just actually really just were talking about Truflation. And actually, I should share a link to the presentation that we gave there, so you can actually see that. I don't know why we wouldn't do that. Maybe Roark, I can ask him to add that to our newsletter. So you might be able to then go and check it out. Should you want to do that. But yeah, I'm super excited. Oh man, I think I've closed all my tabs, so it's not here anymore. Oh no, here it is. So I can just quickly walk you and share that with you instead of looking at the video. You can watch it through the video. I can go through this without any audio in like 10x speed, so you can see it as well. But yeah, no. So we were talking. Why did we set it up? Truflation, ultimately, most of you know. If you don't know, by the way, I'm the founder and CEO of Truflation, Laguna Labs, which is the developer behind Truflation and the Truth Network protocol. I was in Argentina, was giving my first time there, giving a presentation around the Argentinian index. So Truflation launched an Argentinian index. And we got a lot of good comments around what we're doing. And it was amazing to see in a country like Argentina how many people actually really understand, from taxi drivers to they all knew about inflation, right? So it was really, it was amazing how everybody understood inflation, immediately understood the context of everything. And it was truly amazing and refreshing just to see how inflation's working. We had a meeting with the INDEC. INDEC is the former head of the INDEC, I should say, which is the BLS equivalent or the ONS equivalent in Argentina. And they calculate inflation in Argentina. And one of the things that we're seeing that's happening, Argentina's had super high inflation, right? You can see that here on this graph as it loads. Yeah, you can see here, yeah, it's just really, it's now at about 194%. You can see how it's super high and where it's going. But it's started since MLE's taken power, it's come down. You can see the different weightings in the channel over here. So you can see the different weightings. We have the 12 categories, as most of you know. You can see these categories here. And the weightings are very different to the US, right? Food is one of the biggest categories, taking 21% of the overall inflation. So if you're back here, you can see it takes 21.1%, and food has been coming down drastically, right? So trying to liberate the importation of food and the complementation of food in the local markets. But what has been changing and what has been slowly creeping up has been tariffs. So, and why is that? Because ultimately we've been reducing the different um, the different subsidies and departments across Argentina, which has resulted in a slight change in ultimately tariffs slightly creeping up across water, electricity, all the general utilities, electricity, water, gas, have been creeping up. So that's sort of thing. Health insurance has been creeping up as well. Oh, here it's coming down. So, well, I think the subsidies have been, look at this, everything's coming down, which is ultimately why a lot of, but the utilities and transportation's been holding pretty flat. But yeah, I think those are things where the subsidies are coming away, and as a result, invoices are getting higher and higher and higher. And then here, you can see that we were just in front of, my presentation was just before MLE comes on stage, as you'll see on the video. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We had the whole room go through security. They cleaned, dogs sniffing everything. His whole security entourage cleared out the room, and then closed the door, got everybody in the room, closed the door behind them, and so nobody could leave. Everybody was forced to listen to my presentation, which was pretty funny. But yeah, it was a full room, which was pretty good. And you can see here the impact that MLE has been having on the economy since his election in December. Inflation on a month-on-month basis. Remember, Truflation monitors price changes year on year. So we go back, have that basket, as you saw earlier, and then what we do is calculation again. How much is it more expensive this year versus the same time last year? And what this one does, what Index focuses on, is on really month on month. How much was it last month compared to this month, or last month compared to the previous month? So those are things, and you can see here it's significantly down from 25% down to 3.5%. And even before MLE took office, it was still up at 8.3%. And by May, it was brought down to a very low rate. And I think you can feel, if you listen to the presentation, I think we're doing an effort to translate that into English so you can actually see it as well and understand it. But his presentation was spot on, really interesting to hear. And just the passion of the people in Argentina. There's a cohort there that is very entrepreneurial, very, very river state type people. If you've read the book by Nate Silver, he talks about river people and village people. Definitely a lot of river people at the event, a lot of crypto people, a lot of tech advanced people, more entrepreneurs, influencers, so people that are really happy to see change be brought about and bringing Argentina back to being the freest economy in the world. And it was funny to me also that how everybody has sort of, even though a lot of Argentina has a lot of European heritage, Germany, Italy, the UK, a lot of residents have that sort of background in, they're all very proudly Argentinian. They all speak Spanish, and they all want to get back to the glory days. And they all look at Europe, and everybody's been saying, Europe's over. Europe's great for tourism, and that's it. That is the consistent message that I'm hearing everywhere. And we've been talking about it on the podcast. We shared with you the video around the government doing a report, of old historical data, taking a year to do that, most probably paying McKinsey and whoever millions of dollars to put this report together to tell them too much regulation. And so why? Because European population has been getting older and older. And so ultimately they become more and more risk averse. As you get older, you don't want to fall down. You don't want to break anything. You're used to your set ways. You don't want change, et cetera, et cetera. And so as a result, it becomes very difficult to deal with that. And manage that. So anyway, that was a sort of constant theme I heard. Argentina had amazing buildings, beautiful buildings. I was really downtown Buenos Aires. I didn't see Argentina. I just saw Buenos Aires. So maybe I should reframe myself and just focus on Buenos Aires. Beautiful buildings, old buildings, modern buildings, across the board. Yeah, so some really nice neighborhoods that are really new, growing and building up, and some amazing monumental buildings from the past. So it was really nice. I got the feel for a city that had a bit of a blend of, what shall I say, maybe a bit of Paris feeling in there. It had an underground as well, by the way. So it was Paris meets, yeah, sort of a very US vibe as well, entrepreneurial spirit. And yeah, so it was really, yeah, good to see, except it's by the ocean. So you actually by the ocean as well. So that's pretty cool. And huge soccer fans. So everybody loves Messi, and it's amazing. You see Messi everywhere. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Check out the video. There's a link here. And then if you want a copy of the presentation, yeah, we will share that with everybody and put a link into the newsletter. But one of the things I want to share with you in the presentation is this slide here, right? Where we actually are talking with the Ministry of Product, which is, yeah, basically running innovation and price tracking across all their products. They have a unit that does the price tracking. Anyway, they've exposed some 1,200 plus different data sets, as you can see here. What we're going to try and do is engage and see how we can get these from simple downloadable elements into real-time live price feeds through an API. And so we'd love to see that working. And how do we get that onto the TSN and getting datos.gov.ar into our Datos Argentina, getting that into the TSN as a partner. And so we can calculate even better the Argentinian index and grow the quantity and quality of data into the index. I'll come back to some other things that we've been working on at Truflation, but first, as you know, we go into some alpha. To share some alpha, I got this fly flying around here, man. How do I swat it down? Yeah, what you can see in some of the alpha here. Where are we? Here we go. Yeah, it was like a really weird week, I felt, last week, right? I mean, we had, I don't know, I'm sure most of you heard about it, and maybe I don't even really need to talk about it. But, you know, the European government put together this paper in terms of the consequences of Bitcoin, right? These are the same people that sort of said a couple of years ago, Bitcoin's dead. They now actually wrote, and Tour Demistier puts a good blog together in terms of here, how what the consequences are, right? The new paper is truly declaration of war, right? Again, they don't want innovation. They don't want change. They want to stay in power, which is to be expected, right? If you're the monopoly, why would you want to give that up? You are in power. You are driving the economy. You are influencing everything. You're sitting down with your buddies and making decisions that have an impact on overall population. So power ultimately does corrupt, right? And so there is no interest in driving Bitcoin. In absolute terms, early adopters exactly increase their real wealth and consumption at the expense of the real wealth and consumption of those who do not hold Bitcoin or who invested at a later stage. That is normal capitalism. That is you get in early, you take a huge risk. And as a result, you should also get some rewards. And a lot of people in the financial services industry and in government do not want to accept that. That is not fair. And it's like, what is fair? Come on, guys. I mean, it's like, really, you're taking early risk in 2012, 2013. Nobody believed in Bitcoin. Everybody said it was doomed. There was an amazing article around in The Economist, had the front page in 2012 when Bitcoin was $5. Bitcoin is doomed. Bitcoin bubble about to burst. I mean, you know, and now here they are saying it's unfair. Right? So all those people that during that time said, "Oh, it's going to burst. The bubbles burst. It's a fake. It's only used for drug users." Economist, bubble burst, title page. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Let's get some images. Oh, wow, 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 wow. No. The Economist. Maybe change it. Cover of the Economist. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get some extra. Come on. Oh man, I should have had this ready, but yeah, here. Look at this. This is, oh man, some stupid video. Damn it. Anyway, I can't find it, or I have to find it. I have to look, and I don't want to waste your valuable time. So really, apologies about this. Yeah, and so anyway, and then I have all these cookies that pop up anytime I load a site in this country. I mean, in Europe, it's just so weird. But anyway, you can see here, why do you not get benefit from taking risk upfront? You should be rewarded for risk, right? And that's what they really are upset about. All of the incumbents are really upset about this, right? And you can see that, right? So look here. Then we go to Tesla stock, right? So Tesla stock has its earning announcement tomorrow, and everybody's negative, right? All of Wall Street, anybody bringing about change is negative on it, right? Despite the Wii robot, Tesla shares slumped 8.3 since the Wii robot event. Everybody that walked away from the Wii robot event was blown away and super excited about it. And I have only seen good comments on the show about it. And then Wall Street comes in and dumps the stocks, right? And so why is that? On the flip side, right, GM came out and announced their earnings, right? And so look, GM bumps, boom, look at that, right? So pump, why, right? So their they blew past revenue expectations, right? Revenue reached $50 billion, surpassing projections by nearly $800 million. So they broke projections by nearly $1 billion, right? So guess whose bonus is going to get paid? And one of the things, right? So they also had a good earnings announcement, right? So bottom line was good. Not only top line, also bottom line after the expenses. So profits were growing, right? And they sold 650,000 vehicles in Q3. By the way, just bear in mind, there's 5 million Tesla sales, right? So one vehicle. And how many vehicles does GM have? How many brands? But the interesting thing is it's showing promising results, the electric vehicle area. Have you guys followed and are following the Truflation EV index? Huh? Come on, that's it. This is going to grow, this area. Everybody's saying no, but I think you should check it out. It's down, and it definitely does not compare nicely to the SPX 500. So maybe not the best investment just yet. But when things are down, it's got to go up. And what goes up must come down. And what goes down must go up at some point as well. Maybe not, actually. But we think it will. And ultimately, look, EV sales reached 32,000 units compared to Tesla. This is nothing, right? But it's an increase of 60% to the previous year. So which models are there? It would be interesting to see what models they're selling. And I'm sure that's publicly available. We can look in the report. And I'm sure our data team will be looking at that. So here you can see EV sales reached 32,000, right? That's still nothing. But anyway, so interesting thing to see. And again, they don't like change, right? And so much so, the more interesting thing is coming back to the article around Bitcoin and the report by the ECB that they're scared, they don't want to see any change. One thing that you're seeing is, I'm not sure if this is a concerted effort by all the central banks to do stuff together, but all of a sudden the Minnesota Federal Reserve comes out and talks about the same thing, right? The unique implementation of permanent primary deficits, right? To basically So here, so Matthew Siegel's with Van Eck, right? He's their head strategy over there, head of digital assets at Van Eck. Minneapolis Fed joins ECB with Bitcoin attack. New paper claims governments can run permanent deficit if consumers don't notice and adopt new money like Bitcoin, right? So don't notice that they're running a deficit and don't adopt new money like Bitcoin. So yeah, so there, fantasizes about legal prohibition, extra taxes on BTC. So again, tax the BTC. Oh, how do we tax that, right? And they weren't the only one coming up with this great idea about taxation, right? So you saw what Italy did, right? And so I hate Bloomberg, I hate Financial Times. They all have paywalls, even though they bombard you with advertising all over their sites. Oh, we have to pay journalists, but you're mainstream media anyway. Look, I have an ad up here from C3AI. There's an ad somewhere down here, and I still can't get access it. So I'm supposed to pay a subscription and see advertising. And I'm on the European edition too. But ultimately, Italy just raised capital gains tax on Bitcoin to 42%. So despite dropping it to 26%, there's now capital gains of 42% on Bitcoin sales. So yeah, interesting how everything's going. But on the flip side, there are innovators out there that realize the potential of this, right? Number one, what did Japan do, right? Japan started to actually, again, entice users to come to Japan, right? So you can see here the Democratic Party of the People leader pledges to cut Bitcoin tax if elected. So he's got to get elected first. But like everybody else, they're making promises to the crypto community because the crypto constituents, from a voting perspective, is actually influential and more interesting to the politicians. We even have presidents issuing tokens. I mean, how do you get that? I mean, would you have thought that 5 years ago? No way. But yeah, now we have presidents actually issuing tokens and launching a DeFi protocol. So really interesting to see that. Yeah, so whilst they're doing it, and then guess what? Argentina goes a full hammer to the wall where president dissolves the tax bureau. Gary Gensler hires another 400, spends another 4 billion or 10 billion to grow the tax department. And then here you go, Milei dissolves the tax bureau. Argentina government announced that it will dissolve its current tax bureau, replacing it with a simplified version. Wonder what that is. I haven't read this paper yet. This was just sent to me. I've been pretty busy since I got back. But yeah, I really got the feel that Milei has in his DNA the drive, the energy, and the mission to achieve the freest economy in the world. And you can feel that vibe in that room. His followers and his community was all present and to the nail. And it was funny when we went around and we took some videos. We were interviewing taxi drivers, Uber drivers, workers at the hotels, at restaurants. And we went to a Peronista demonstration where Moreno, the former economic minister that fudged the inflation numbers to secure loans and ensure loan payment capabilities with fudged numbers, he was actually giving a speech in the Peron place, which was a square in the city center. And yeah, and he was pitching them to get reelected again and get back in, even though I think he's about to serve a 3-year sentence. So interesting dynamics over there. And he was definitely not a friend of some of the people that we met with. But either way, what I was saying was that in talking to all the different constituents and in different parts of the city, Buenos Aires only, you got the feel for certain people idolized and really loved what Milei is about and his purpose and got behind that. And then there were people on the fence. They were all, yeah, we like what he's doing, but we're not quite sure. Yeah, we like what there's sort of a very reserved nature, sort of see what he can do. If he's doing good, it's okay. If not, then yeah, it's like we're a bit upset. And I think the reason if you look at the underlining associated with that, the silver lining was the fact that everybody there believes that he could possibly bring Argentina back to its glory days. And whilst they all accept all politicians are corrupt, they felt that he had the nation's vision before any kind of self-serve mission. I'm sure they're both interlinked, right? So the better he does and the more successful he is with Argentina, the more successful he becomes, and that has a perpetual impact on him. But either way, look, I mean, he's taking action, he's driving change, he's reducing the number of departments, right? I think there was an interesting post out there earlier today around yeah, I think it was Elon X.com. He posted something where the US government doesn't even know how many departments they actually have, right? Which was pretty amazing, right? They don't even know what is the definition of a department, right? And so if you look at that, and what we've said all the time, right? We've said that the federal statistical system has 13 departments and some 216 ancillary bureaus that are tied to those 13 departments, all very clearly trying to distinguish my work with the other work and how they manage that, right? And so, yeah, just interesting. Again, another thing is you have European nations bulking up their tax offices and bureau and charging more capital gains tax. Even in the US, they're trying to charge more tax and go after those that took risk and went ahead and lent in on very uncertain futures of like Bitcoin, right? And so how it's super uncertain. Startups are very uncertain. How do you know what you're going to do and if you're going to win, right? You just don't know, right? And so it's super risky. And so why should they be penalized? Europe and even the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis think that we should limit any kind of innovation and should not allow others to get rich. Instead, be happy, stay poor, right? And so that's really what they're advocating. And don't take any risk. Don't drive about change, right? The other thing, look again, another European sign. Dutch Parliament instructs government to work on an exit tax plan. So what's this exit tax from Europe or exit tax for immigrants? So people, I want to leave the country. I don't want to pay tax. So we're going to charge you a taxation bill for leaving the country. I mean, it's just really, Europe, I think, is really struggling to find its way. And they've killed any kind of innovation before it can even happen. They have a whole bunch of talent. They've got great education services, but they don't have and support with the entrepreneurs with the kind of capital to really build a pan-European tech business. What VCs have the vision to support that across Europe? The regulations are so fragmented across Europe, and then it's over-regulated, right? And instead of just using common sense as an entrepreneur and drive, you're going to wait, spend gazillions of dollars on lawyers and accountants and advisors and regulators and lobbying businesses so that they can adopt potentially one day what you're working on versus actually just going out and building and creating innovation. So anyway, that's sort of what's been going on across Europe and the challenges with innovation, etc. On the flip side, whilst that's been happening, we've also seen a lot of challenges in the market around credit cards and other activities. Credit card debt's an all-time high, government deficit an all-time high, right? So really the governments aren't trying to fix the problem with all of the issues that they're going through from a operational perspective, and just layering on new taxation issues. like that. I think one of the things is, I think also government's really struggling with how the economies are performing. I don't think they really know what's going on. You saw the UK. I can't find my tabs, guys. Sorry, give me patience here. Yeah, a huge decline in inflation. So how do you deal with that? What's up with that, right? And yeah, so that's one thing that's been going on. Yeah, so here, just quickly, you see the debt will reach 150 trillion by 2054. I mean, do we really care about 2054? It's so far away. I think realistically, um, yeah, let's see. I think the projected GDP, if we unregulate and we accelerate innovation, will go far beyond that. If you look at the global GDP report right now, we're looking at about $100 trillion is global GDP, right? And I think $120 trillion, sorry. So here you can see, anyway, this was a good report. I thought that really from Sequoia to highlight that the AI's $600 billion revenue assumption. So they are predicting that by by when is it, 2024, there will be a $600 billion AI revenue stream. Is that right? Anyway, I have to look at this. Somebody just sent this to me. I thought it was really interesting, but they were then breaking it down by currently of the GDP, 15% is allocated to technology companies. So technology companies are driving 15% of global GDP. And they believe that if that goes up to 25%, what is that going to mean? And ultimately, if you look at that in $1 trillion, 25% of $100 trillion, you're looking at $25 trillion tech industry. So there's going to be amount of revenue in across that industry of that magnitude. Who's going to get that? Where's that going to go? It's going to go into productivity tools and productivity enhancements. That's sort of on the positive side, and that's where ultimately we all want to see tech go. But I think, on the flip side, we still have a large, the US consumer is struggling, right? And you can see here, credit card debt is hitting all-time high. It's about $1.1 trillion. So it's just growing and growing. Since COVID, since we got the stimmy checks back in 2020, it's been picking up since. We've been buying a lot more, spending a lot more money, going to restaurants a lot more. Oops, sorry. We're actually not going to restaurants, right? Because look what's happening in the restaurant industry. More than 4 in 10 independent restaurants, right? So again, it's the small, medium businesses that are the backbone of the economy. They're the ones suffering. It's not the big players. The big players are all doing well, right? Because they have the relationships and cozy up with the central bankers and the bankers and have access to credit loans and extensions. And anybody that's a startup, we want to shut down any kind of banking facility. We do not want to enable them to make money trading in crypto and doing crypto. We don't want small, medium restaurants to have differentiation. We want everything to be generic, right? And where is diversity? We have diversity with independent restaurants. So how do we support them to enable them to pay rent despite the downturn? Interest rates have got to come down further. Can the Fed act fast enough? We see prices going up. So if inflation's picking up again, and in the UK it's dropping down, what happens in the world? Where's all of these guys? They don't have the tools to operate at internet speed. They are still operating in manual legacy speed, and they've got 127 different bureaus and about 23 different departments that are all calculating statistics and aggregating numbers so that they can make decisions 6 months late on what and how the economy should go. All the meanwhile, we live in an ADD world where we have attention deficit. We get so much noise every single day. How do we deal with that, right? And you can see, even in the UK, they can't deal with that, right? The UK just announced a sharp drop in inflation. UK falls sharp by 1.7%, below the bank's targets of 3 years, right? So why they dropped so much in one go, right? So beating expectations for a fall to 1.9. So they dropped 0.2%. They were up at 2.2. That's 0.5% in 1 month. That's a huge drop for a government. And we know how slow these guys change any of their metrics. It takes them 1 year to propose a new calculation methodology, and then another year to get that then implemented. And they don't implement it all in one go. They phase it in so it doesn't disrupt the actual models anymore. And so you can just see core inflation. The pound fell against the dollar and the euro, so it's not as strong as it used to be. You can just see UK inflation, blah, blah, blah. It's just coming down. UK inflation was below the Bank's England's 2% target. And so what are they going to do? Very much like the IMF is saying here, hikes UK growth outlook amid lower inflation and interest rates. So they are assuming interest rates are likely to come down to stimulate the growth again, as well as they can bring up inflation again to 2%. So they're flip-flopping. Oh, we'll drop the interest rate. Oh, no, we'll raise the interest rates. Oh, we'll drop the inflation rates. And they'll do that 9 times out of 10, especially around election cycles. So that's what you're seeing right here, right now, in these various channels, which is pretty bad, actually, And unfortunately, what does that result in? Most Americans feel worse off than they did 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, Bidenomics obviously didn't work, and I think they decided to change the name and not use Bidenomics anymore. But that did not work, and so people feel worse off now than they did. Americans are dissatisfied with the country's current state, citing immigration and the economy. So lots of improvement there, and let's see how that comes along. Anyway, that's it on the sort of economic side and macro side. We just always try to find a bit of alpha, a bit of new insights, and allow you to find and see what we could do. Here, Alfredo Rialp. Hello, how are things going with the Truth Token fork? Greetings and thanks. Yeah, look, we're working on that, and I will give you an update this week. That's what I promised, so stay tuned. We're working on a lot of stuff on that front. But that said, we're also building. We got to build a business that's sustainable, that we can take to new heights. How do we do that? We don't do that worrying about the past, that we let other people work with us and build out atomic teams to focus on that. That's really what we call them. And so the other thing that we did do is, we took Peter Level's deadlift index and created that, and we want to make that available for you to trade with. So it got covered here in the Finbold article, so you can see that here. Where's that video? That was a video. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that be. Oh man, I can't find the article. Too many tabs open again. Yeah, you can see there's a lot going on in that. We launched the deadlift index, and yeah, as a result, we got a lot of traction for that, right? So you can go to Truflation.com and check out deadlift, which is based on here you go. You can find it right here. It is, I'm sure, this is the deadlift index. So you can see here how that's performed. This is what are the constituents of that. It's all the CEOs that are in the gym and working out, from Coinbase, Airbnb, Uber, BlackRock, Nvidia, etc. And you can see how this is performing against the SPX, for example, Standard & Poor index. Look, it's pretty much on track with S&P, maybe a bit more. Let's have a look at the last month. Yeah, a bit, sort of, maybe a bit, not quite, maybe still a bit sometimes, but it's on target, performing the same. So that's what the deadlift index is, and that's what we've launched on our site. Soon you will be able to trade these. So this is coming. We're working on integration there so that anybody can start buying these index, not only the hedge index, but also the deadlift index, the EV index, as we've shown you already how you can do that and engage with that. So yeah, that's sort of what we've been working on and building out. I think the other thing that we've been working out, always trying to get better. You saw the in the slides and the presentation what we've been doing with DDoS from Argentina, the government data, trying to get that into the TSN. But we've also been working with Scanit. Scanit is a IoT slash deepen organization. What do? They leverage the blockchain to not the blockchain. They leverage consumers and reward consumers for capturing price data through the Scanit app. So they take a picture of a receipt, for example. That is a scan action that gets sent up into the network that then compares and dissects that data and shares that with Truflation. So we're crowdsourcing price feeds. This is going to be extremely important in emerging markets or evolving markets where the scan code readers and supermarket concept is not as prevalent and pervasive as they are in the Western markets or very, very developed economies. So we're pretty excited about that partnership and them sharing their scan data into and onto the Truth network. Yeah, that's sort of what we've been working on. There's a lot more. I don't know. I'm going to give you a bit of a sneak peek around what we're working on at index.fun. I know you should now, I think we're just still working through the final details of making this available. But here you can go check out index.fun, create, speculate, or predict and trade real world indexes on chain. So you can come here and check and create new indexes in seconds. What does that look like? You go to app.index.fun, you land on the homepage, and here, build your own index in seconds. You've seen this already. Here you have a bunch of indexes. So I can go to any index and link through from there once I've created this tool and then push it to publication. Once it's published, it can then be tokenized and trade as a token. But even before then, you can actually, let's go and explore one. Come on, baby, you can load. It pulls all the data feeds and price feeds from the Truth network. By the way, damn it, I just hit it too early. So all of these price feeds come from the Truth network. So let's go have a look at the Deadlift index, for example, which we just launched, which is now also available on index.fun. You can then come here and bet and trade. So what does that look like? So you can see that here. We're just still working on the UX, but you can see here we then have a game. You select the game, and you can then bet down or up with USDT at the moment. So the betting is in USDT, and the settlement between index.fun and Truflation Stream Network, or the Truth Network, is in Truth tokens. So you can then just see the value and the importance of real world pricing available on the blockchain and making that accessible to anybody that wants to integrate this into their service. And we got some other really cool customers coming down the line, so stay tuned. That's sort of pretty much what we've been working on, and exciting to have shared that with you. It's Tuesday. I've been on this podcast now for nearly 45 minutes. I don't want to keep your time too long. I'm pushing to keep this to half an hour, but hope you enjoyed this. Please like the show, subscribe, tell us what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and just so how can we improve this and what can we do? I think there were people seem to have loved the fact that Argentina doesn't have a tax bureau anymore. I mean, who wouldn't, right? It's for most people, it's small taxes. Exactly. The bureaucratic machine to handle the work costs more than the revenues cashed in. Yeah, definitely. If Trump could do similar, he deserves to be on he deserves his own Mount Rushmore. Interesting. I like that. I'm sure Trump has already made very clear that he wants to reduce taxes significantly, and he thinks he can go even lower than what the market is expecting. Let's see. I'm sure everyone living in the US is going to be excited for that. Let's see how that comes together. But yeah, long show. Hope you enjoyed that. Happy Tuesday again, and look forward to seeing y'all on Thursday again. And we'll have some interesting updates on Thursday. So stay tuned. And thank you for watching the show. Adios, amigos. And I am trying to improve my Spanish. So next time I go to Argentina, which will be in Q1 next year, I really want to go back. And I implore all of you to go check out Argentina. It's really amazing. And I think they're doing a lot down there to incentivize and support entrepreneurs. So, all you budding entrepreneurs out there, and there's good talent there, by the way, as well. Lots of universities, very young population, and it felt good vibe. So, yeah, good food, good wine, oceans right there, mountains back there, and great, Patagonia, great destinations to go and visit as well. So, check it out if you get the chance. And if you're there same time we're there, it will be really good. So have a great show and great day. Enjoy, and thank you, everybody. Have a great day. See you Thursday.
Nice.